Curate, the owner of QVC and HSN, and a first timer on this headline, on this show, I think. And I don't think we've ever done a Curate retail headline before. It is rebranding the QVC Group, rebranding to QVC Group, as it aims for $1.5 billion in revenue from live streaming and social media within 3 years. According to Retail Dive, the company is renaming itself the QVC Group by Q1 of 2025, and part of its new strategy, the company will continue to amplify its QVC Plus and HSN Plus streaming platforms and develop streaming commerce options for channels including Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube TV, bring celebrities and sales content to its social media channels, refresh its production studios, and tailor its content to TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and other platforms, as Ann was just talking about a few seconds ago. It should also be noted that Curate Retail Group has struggled with falling sales. In June, the company said it was facing a delisting from NASDAQ and has until December 9th to regain compliance. In its Q3 earnings released earlier this month, the company also reported a 5% dip in revenue year over year. And a year ago, the company landed on Retail Dive's bankruptcy watch list. And do you think Curate Retail's rebrand and more overt goals to drive revenue via live streaming and social media will help to reverse the tide of this once prosperous brand?
I feel like this show
as ominously as possible.
Yeah, I was like, this show has turned into a show about retail turnarounds. But
that's kind of the state of the state right now, my friend.
Yep. Right. So to me, this is another no duh thing for Curate Retail. Like, yes, you need
really?
Oh, yeah. You need to revamp. You need to rethink your strategy because, Chris, here's the thing. I think people may associate QVC and the Home Shopping Network with an older demographic. But look, there's still money to be made from that demographic.
They probably should.
Yes. But there is still money to be made there, except those people are also on social platforms now. They're not watching TV as much anymore. They're scrolling on their phones. And so I think it makes a ton of sense to take the platform that QVC and the Curate Group are very, very well versed in and move it to social. Like, move it to Facebook. I still think there's a lot of opportunity there to capture sales and capture an experience that's familiar to that audience. And then I think you're also bringing in fresh blood. We interviewed Mara Sorrell. She was formerly of Saks Off Fifth. Yep. She's in there as a new merchant. You've got the Rue and Gilt Group's Rosalia Bucaro that's also joining there. So I think you have that new insight, especially from a merchandising perspective, that could help bolster and make Curate relevant again to that younger demographic at the same time. So I think this is something that they absolutely have to do. And whether or not it's going to be successful is another question. But live streaming is coming back in popularity. I think it fell out of favor a little bit for a while. But again, like, this is a methodology that is, when you get people engaging with an individual online, the sales go up, they increase, the baskets get bigger. So I think this is a very necessary move from Curate. But what do you think?
Yeah, and it's more about it's the live stream. It's more about video commerce, right? When we go into our feeds, we're watching the video feeds now. We're not watching the static feeds. We're all watching the video feeds. And a couple of things come to mind for me on this story. And number one is, like, you're just doing this now, like. Oh yeah. I mean, like seriously, like, that's kind of an indictment. And so the other point I make is, like, I don't think this is going to make a hill of beans bit of difference, because as you just described in the last headline, the world just doesn't work this. Yeah. The world just doesn't work this way anymore, Ann. It just doesn't. And direct influence, first of all, direct influencer content is cheaper to produce and it's more readily available than ever before. And so then it's harder to differentiate something as the QVC Group. Like, as we learned in our webinar, like you said yesterday with Cody's former chief digital officer, video is going to be the primary medium by which consumers conduct commerce. I just don't see how QVC continues to thrive in that age, because the individual content creators will work. They're going to work. There's so many of them now because it's so easy to do. They're going to work to keep the margins themselves. They don't need QVC providing the production studios and the distribution and the pretty spokespeople anymore. The brands don't need that either. They can just go directly to the influencers that matter the most. So, like, I don't understand what value add QVC is playing anymore. Because in the old days, yeah, they had this fancy studio, they had the fancy show person with the nice pearly white teeth, and that just, you don't need that anymore. It's gone. So I'm so negative on this story, man. Like this is like Chris Glass half empty day, I think. But yeah,
I think you're definitely raising some important
There's some good points there, right, Ann?
For sure. I'm not ready to call time of death yet on them. I still think that they have the knowledge and the know-how. Is this a little late? Yes, definitely. But I still think that there's a venue. Yes, there's a lot of investment in UGC and there's a lot of investment in individual creators, but I still think that there's some value that can be driven from, having somebody that already has a platform and a dedicated base of consumers who are used to buying from this platform. They just need to move it to a new place, to Facebook, to Instagram, or whatever it might be. But it'll be a fun one to watch.
That's the interesting thing for me, though. Like, even in our business, I think the power is in the individual creator versus like conglomerations like this. And that's where we're going to see more individual creators get more powerful and extend their reach too. So I don't know, but unfortunately, Ann, I think we've got a story here at the end that's going to perk me up and get me a little glass half full.
Oh my God. All right.